I-95 is a great example of what's great about Pennsylvania. Our innovation meets our grit, and we work together to get this done. I also sense, even if you're not out doing the work of our tradespeople on the road, we're doing the hard work in our federal government or our state government. Folks here in Philly have a real renewed sense of civic pride through this project. Hell, they were watching a live stream at Xfinity Live last night while they're eating 95-cent wings. There's something special happening in our community, people coming together. Now, don't get me wrong, I know that motorists are hurting and business owners are hurting, but right now this community is coming together and lifting up those workers and making sure that they know we are supporting them. Folks, I can now talk a little bit more about the progress that we're making. And I can tell you now, I can state with confidence that we will have I-95 reopened within the next 2 weeks. We are going to get traffic moving again, thanks to the extraordinary work that is going on here by these union trades workers. Mr. President, Senator Casey, Senator Fetterman, Congressman Boyle, we are so grateful for the incredible support that the federal government has provided us. We're proud to be your partners. We're proud to be on the same team with you. Mr. President, you know, and the First Lady knows maybe a lot better than you, this is a sports town. She loves her Philly sports. We love our Philly sports. This is our championship, and we are getting it done here in Philly. One of the teammates I'm proud to serve with is Senator Bob Casey, our senior senator. And it's my privilege to be able to welcome him to the podium now. Senator Casey.
Well, thanks very much. I want to start by commending and saluting the great work of the President. Mr. President, we're honored you're here. As always, we love when you're home, but we're especially grateful that you came immediately to Pennsylvania to help us rebuild this portion of I-95. Can't tell you how much I appreciate the working relationship that all of us have with the executive branch. President Biden and his team in the White House, Secretary Buttigieg, Administrator Bott, who's here, Mitch Landrieu as well, and so many others who are making it possible for us to get that initial dollars out the door, the emergency dollars, to meet the need so quickly. So, Mr. President, thank you on behalf of the people of Pennsylvania and well beyond for the immediate response. I want to commend and salute as well the governor and his team, Governor Shapiro and his office, Secretary Carroll, and all the men and women who make it possible for us to stand here today and be prepared to rebuild this section of I-95. And that goes as well, of course, obviously, to Mayor Kenney and his team. And when you think about it, as the President made reference to, and the Governor, all of those men and women who responded initially, those brave men and women, whether they're firefighters or emergency responders, employees of PennDOT, city workers, so many came to the aid of a community. And now you have a whole group of other great Pennsylvanians, union members and others, who are making it possible for us to rebuild I-95 in this section. So we're honored by that work. We still have more work to do, but I'm grateful to hear what the governor just told us. And I'm also grateful that we have a delegation in this region. Whatever we need to do, Senator Fetterman and I, Representative Boyle, Representative Evans we saw earlier today, and so many others supporting this effort to make sure that we get this done. But we're grateful for the leadership already and grateful for those who have done the hard work to respond and to begin the rebuilding process. So I'm grateful to be joined by a partner, Senator Fetterman, who's next up at the podium.
Mr. President, a little over a year ago, the President and I were standing right next to each other at a collapsed bridge in western Pennsylvania, a bridge that I drove over just the night before with my young son. And he showed up with just hours after that bridge collapsed there. And he promised to make sure that any resources that they needed and any help and support. And guess what? That bridge was rebuilt less than a year, well in front of time. and again. And now I'm standing next to the president again, next to a collapsed bridge here. And he is here to commit to work with the governor and the delegation to make sure that we get this fixed quick, fast as well too. This is a president that is committed to infrastructure. Yeah, and then on top of that, the dual kind of a law of the inflation bill that is going to make sure that there's going to be bridges all across like this, all across America getting rebuilt. It's a pleasure to be here and to introduce my friend, Congressman Boyle Bile.
Well, thank you. I'm Congressman Brendan Boyle, but the main reason why I'm here, forget that I'm Congressman. More importantly, I am a Northeast Philadelphia resident and a daily commuter on that section of I-95. So you better believe how much I care about this infrastructure project and getting this reopened as quickly as possible. Mr. President, I just want to say thank you. That very early Sunday morning, my first phone call was to the White House. Mr. President, when we spoke on the phone earlier this week, and you pledged to me that this was your single most important infrastructure project right now, getting this rebuilt, that means the world to me and the millions of us who live in Philadelphia or the surrounding area. In my lifetime, I have never seen a president more engaged or in this city and area more often than President Joe Biden. So thank you. And Josh, I just want to say, my second call, right after talking to the White House, my second call was to you. The work that you have done, your team, Mike Carroll, my former colleague, so many others, has really been remarkable. This is, as Josh mentioned, a great example of all hands on deck. Federal, state, and local officials working together. Mayor Jim Kenney, you've probably been to the site more than almost anyone, and I want to thank you and everyone involved with the city for your effort as well. You know, this is even bigger, though, than just repairing a critical part of I-95. As I pointed out earlier this week, if you draw a 50 or 75-mile radius circle anywhere on I-95 from Maine to Miami, this is the most densely populated part of I-95. That's how critical this road is. But as critical as it may be, there's something even bigger at play. There is a cynicism that many of us have to fight in Washington day in and day out. Those who propagate a view that government can't do things, can't achieve big things. We're going to prove them wrong. Thank goodness we proved them wrong last term by passing and you signing the bipartisan infrastructure bill so that we have the resources to be able to meet and tackle this challenge. We're going to prove them wrong again by rebuilding, as Josh said, this road faster than any other similar collapse that we've seen in the country. That is the way we get people believing back in their government again. And with that, it is my honor to bring up the mayor of this again by rebuilding, as Josh said, this road faster than any other similar collapse that we've seen in the country. That is the way we get people believing of this great city of Philadelphia.
And my phone kept ringing with a 202 area code. I thought it was spam or something. And one of my deputy mayors called me and said, "Would you please answer the phone?" I said, "Why?" He said, "Because the president's calling you." He called me. I didn't call him. He called us. He called us about this, and he was always there through the hard times of the pandemic, of the testing, of the vaccine, of the lost revenue. We would not be the city we are right now without this man here. And I know he lives close. I know he's from Delaware, and he's considered himself almost a citizen here. But the President of the United States called me to see what he could do to help us. And that says all you need to know about this president and this man here. So thank you very much, Mr. President. We really appreciate it, and we love you. Thank you.
I might add, if I didn't, I'd be sleeping alone. You have to explain, I better explain that. Some don't know what I'm talking. My wife's a Philly girl. All right, where are we going?
We're heading this way for
All right, we're going to go over and get the briefing.
Mr. President, you know, Shailen Bat, FHA. Yep. We're coming right over here, you guys.
Where you want it? Over here?
Yep. So, Mr. President, you remember you told us that we were going to rebuild the backbone of the country. And one team, one fight, shoulder to shoulder, get it done in time humanly possible. And the governor has been leading this effort. You guys come on up. This is the material that's going to be used. Governor, why don't you give us a little brief?
Yeah, Mr. President, rather than throwing dirt down in that hole, which takes time to settle, so that's time that Philadelphians don't want to wait for this road to reopen. And instead,
Thanks, man.
Pleasure. Appreciate it. Thank you.
so, Mr. President, we put up a live feed here.
That's pretty cool, isn't it? Be able to see exactly
Actually, the
what's
live
happening.
feed's over here. That's from a few days ago. Mitch, if I could, here, so President, remembering, this is what we saw in the helicopter.
Yeah.
We're saying we're going to have 3 lanes north, 3 lanes south. So this is that aggregate, which we just saw in Delaware County. It's going to be underneath. We'll have
Guys.
3 lanes north, 3 lanes south on the
Stop
top.
walking in front of me.
And then that will allow us to reconstruct the bridge on the 2 ends. And then once we reconstruct the bridge on the 2 ends, we'll move the traffic to the permanent bridge and then put the bridge in the middle.
There's a bridge on the other side. You can't see it. I mean, you look at it, and it looks like it's only here, but it's on the other side.
That's right.
North,
That's right. And this is a live feed. It's a brilliant idea by my Chief of Staff, Dana Fritz, to invite everybody to watch our progress. And apparently they're watching the Philly sports bars all the time now. But you can see the aggregate that's going in right here.
Yep.
And I must tell you, Mr. President, yesterday, nothing was there. They were still cleaning up the ground. Look at the progress that they've made, you know, roughly, I don't know, about halfway up the wall, Brian Boyer?
No, that's about a third of the way.
A third of the way. Okay. I'm an optimist, you know. That's it. And so they're going to keep building that up.
They'll be done.
No. Let me say that. And then they'll be able to pave over that and get the traffic moving in here soon.
You know what I keep saying? I'm optimistic. I'm more optimistic about the country than I've ever been, not because I'm president, because things are changing so rapidly. Listen, think of it. Anything we set our mind to as Americans, we never, ever fail. If we just do it together. It's not a joke. I keep saying, I remember who the hell we were in the United States of America, for God's sake. We used to have the #1 infrastructure in the world, now we're number 13. But you're bringing it back, right?
With your help, bipartisan infrastructure.
You got it, man.
So, Mr. President, you have right now, bipartisan infrastructure law, 32,000 projects that have been funded in 4,500 communities, pushed $225 billion out of the door, and the President has said this is the #1 project and has said to all of us, shoulder to shoulder, hand to hand, get it done as fast as is humanly possible. And this is what it looked like when you said if we do big things together, we can get big things done quick. And the governor has just been doing an unbelievable job, and this is a one team, one fight effort, sir, that you put in place.
Well, look, the reason I say this, I'm not being parochial because, you know, Philadelphia, it's like the second home for me, and because it's so close to my state, but it's because where this collapse took place is in the middle of a working class area. It's in the middle of an area that hardworking people look at every day and affects their daily lives. Just the community, forget Interstate, just the community. And I think the most important thing we've got to do is demonstrate to hardworking people that it's a new day. You know, excuse me for saying this again, but my dad used to have an expression for not a joke. From the time I was a kid, he said, Joe, remember, a job's about a lot more than a paycheck. It's about your dignity. It's about respect. It's about being able to look your kid in the eye and say, honey, it's going to be okay. That's what we're trying to do, to change the nature of, instead of building from the trickle-down economy, not a whole lot trickle down to my dad's kitchen table. But you build it from the middle out and the bottom up. The wealthy do very well. I'm all for billionaires. I'd like to be one, if I could, as long as they start paying their fair share. But all kidding aside, everybody does better. So thank you, thank you, thank you. That's why we've got to do this.
Mr. President, thank you. You guys, thank y'all so much. I appreciate it.
Thanks,
Thank you very much. Head this way.
I'm heading down to a labor conference. I know you don't know much about the labor stuff.
Thank you.
Thanks, Pat.